Excuse me. Orange juice, best stuff. Pulp in. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And I'm channeling a group called the Ascended today who want to share their thoughts on the idea and the conception that the future is now. It's not tomorrow. It's not yesterday. It's right now. Good morning, Robert. Good to see you. And this idea that what you're looking for is going to happen next year, the year after, might be true. You might be planning something and building something, but it said what you are thinking now, what you are doing now, what you are feeling now, these are the key elements of your personality that shape the manifestation of your future. So whatever emotion you're indulging in right now, and emotions can be indulged in, and they can be a choice. Let us repeat that. Emotions can be indulged in, and they can be a choice. Indulgence is a choice. If you're indulging in your pain and your anger and your judgment, if you are lamenting about your past and your suffering, you are actively creating your future now. It is not limited to one or two thoughts or emotions. All that you think and feel and believe in any given moment is creative by nature and effect. And there's a part of you that knows this when you are in a low vibrational emotional energy like sadness or fear, depression or anxiety for extended periods of time. You create an extended period of suffering equally. Conceptions of death need to be corrected, as the idea of death is only something that refers to the physical medium of your capacity to express in this world. Please understand this. The death of the body is not the end of your existence. It is the end of that personality that you currently are living through as a construct. That is the truth. And so when you mourn the loss of someone, it is understandable because that individual, as an individualized expression of its immortal self, will never be repeated. And so you mourn the loss of an individual, but the essential nature of that being is immortal. And if you understood the nature of your immortality and were not so attached to the belief in your finite nature, you would not mourn something such as death, because you would understand that there is everlasting life. And everlasting life is a function of your soul, of the immortal spirit, of the one great creator, of which you are an intimate and remarkable portion in any given point of expression, meaning whatever lifetime you are in, you are still an intrinsic part of an infinite consciousness. But while you are in a finite state in the body hearing these words, understand that your future is now. What you think, what you feel, what you believe formulates a functional act of creation to which this spirit simply responds and reacts without judgment. So you may choose to suffer and you may choose to be happy. These are choices. They are choices. There are no random events in your life. People affecting you in a certain way or you affecting people in a certain way are creative functions of your consciousness. And this is a wonderful thing to realize. So when we say that your future is now, it is literally you are creating what is to come from now. So what you would allow to come into the fabric of your eyes, what you would allow to come into your heart, what would you allow to leave your mouth, all of these things are creative in nature and establish the function of creation as your individualized experience, the life that you're currently living. If you understood your immortal nature, you would approach your life very differently. For you as an eternal being, a soul, a divine entity, in that realm of your being, there is the joy of experiencing individuality, the wonder of it. Eventually, it will become a deliberate, functional act of creation, much in the same way all life was a manifestation of a particular consciousness that you call God. So too, your individualized life is a mirror of that potential. Your individual life is a mirror of that potential, and you have a wonderful time if you wish to have a wonderful time, and you can have suffering if you wish to have suffering. There is no judgment held against you to say you may or may not do this. We would certainly recommend that there are experiences as an individual that are more preferable than others. But everything in your physical dimension is a creative manifestation of your consciousness, individually and collectively. As you gather here in little separate forms and experience what you call this world, you are in a co-creative process together. But your future is now, it's not tomorrow. What you think, what you believe, what you dwell on in your mind, the words you say, the actions you take are creative functions, articulating transformations in your experience of this dimension of time, space, and matter. And if you can come to the realization of this, then you might realize the temporary nature of your physical being at this time can be a wondrous and exquisite journey. And ultimately, in the divine perspective of reality, it is anyway. For even your suffering is as temporary as your bliss in this realm of the individual. Let us repeat that. Even your suffering and your bliss are temporary in this realm. But while in this realm, you have the opportunity to perfect the function of creation as an individual, to perfect the function of creation as an individual. And while you may look to others to understand and comprehend why you are here quite simply for one reason: to learn the function of creation. You are here to learn the function of creation as an act of your own free and sentient will. You've been given several elements with which to achieve this goal: matter, time, space, awareness, mind, body. You have these facets at your disposal to articulate acts of creation which can result in experiences that you call good or not so good. But this is the wonderful opportunity you have right now if you are hearing what we're saying. And you might say, well, I just feel this way. I cannot change what I feel. And we would simply say to you, that is simply because you do not understand that you can, or you've decided to be unwilling to do so. In either case, you cannot alter or change the trajectory of your creative assertions. That is, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your ideas, your actions, your words are creative influences. And so you might feel comfortable gaining attention from your suffering, but we can assure you that your attention seeking from the perspective of suffering will only result in subsequent suffering of a greater degree, as very specific qualities of emotion and thought are designed to create very specific experiences in this reality of time and space. the experience of emotion is that which organizes the precipitated elements of experience. That is, experience is a product of your dominant emotional state. Experience in this dimension is a product of your dominant emotional state. Now, we want to talk about this functionality of reincarnation for a moment, because many of you want to understand what this reincarnation is and what it is for. And unfortunately, without the proper knowledge, reincarnating into a new life can sometimes be very confusing. As some of you have been here for many lifetimes, and others of you have only been here for a short time. Some of you have been here in only the span of 100 standard Earth years. You've come once or twice, and you think you have it figured out, but you find yourself in confusion about who you are, and why you're here, and what is your purpose. If you measure yourself by but a single lifetime, you'll be disappointing yourself, or you cannot measure yourself by but a single lifetime when you can string a great number of them together. But reincarnation from one form to another is part of the eternal journey. The eternal journey is experiencing the potential of change and transformation, and then learning to utilize that to ultimately become the very thing that manifested you, the creator, to become as the creator is. Now, we know there are people that have lived lifetimes of being in a male body and being in a female body. Individuals that have lived lifetimes as kings, or the poor, or as a plant, or as a dog, or as an animal. You've had many lifetimes, some of you, and some of you only a few. And with fewer lifetimes of experience, the confusion can be more pronounced from one lifetime to another. And that confusion can carry over. That is to say, we know of people that have lived in lifetimes recently as female individuals in a female body, that when leaving that lifetime had desired a different lifetime to not be female, to be male. And the reverse is also true, where there have been males that have desired to be females. And coming into a new lifetime, the residue of the previous lifetime can be very strong. And then you get what you asked for. You leave a female body, you come into a male body. You leave a male body, you come into a female body. But you have not learned to differentiate yourself from the experience of individuality. And so you find yourself, perhaps in a new lifetime, being a little uncomfortable with the choice that you made. You see, what you desire at any moment is a creative influence. I don't want to be a man. I would rather be a woman. I don't want to be a woman. I'd rather be a man. And the functional behavior that may not occur in a lifetime that you're in. And subsequently, you find yourself in the opposite of what you were before. And you find it far more challenging and difficult than you imagined. And you wish to get back to what you were before. But now you'll have to go through the experience that you manifested. And if you measure your life by your individual experience, and your individual experience only, and not from the understanding that you are an immortal being, here to experience many different facets of the self, then you can find yourself confused and misdirected in your consciousness about who and what you really are. The body is not the locus of your identity. Your body is the medium through which you express your consciousness. The body may be a particular predisposition, but it does not define your soul. Your soul defines the function and expression of the body, of the mind. Your soul defines expression, your body and mind about the mediums through which that expression has life. Excuse me. Those of you living in poverty and struggling and facing difficulty, these are creative influences, not only from the world around you, the conditioning of information, ideas, and beliefs that you are bombarded with, but the very nature of the lifetime that you entered into is a product of your own creative consciousness. And because your sciences do not consider such phenomena as reincarnation, it's very difficult for you to get to the truth, as what you were taught by science negates much of what we would say to you. That can be proven quite simply by such phenomena as deja vu. You have been here before. Many of you have had that experience. I remember this exact thing happening. I remember it, but it's now. And that was then, but this is now. There's no confusion. There's an understanding that you are creating conditions. And every once in a while, you'll get glimpses of the fact that you are creating, not from mind and body, but from soul or spirit, your awareness. If you use your body and mind as the medium for identifying who you are, there can be confusion. Do not confuse yourself. That is like believing that because you own a particular type of car, you are the car, but you drive the car around, you get in and out of it. Your life is like that too. You are in the vehicle, but you are not the vehicle. The vehicle is only the mechanism through which creative expression can be demonstrated. And what a wonder that is. So when we say that your future is now, it literally is now. What you think, what you feel, what you believe, what you say, what you do, assert functions of energy and cause conditions to manifest accordingly. There are no accidents in your experiences. They're all creative manifestations. There are no random events, no chance happenings. For each and every one of you are of the same divine creator. And as that, you are a creator by nature. And so enjoy the journey of the manifestation you currently find yourself in, knowing that you can change it at any time. You can change the function of your creative mechanics. That is what you do with your mind, what you do with your emotional energy, what you do with your body, the words you speak, the things you imagine. These are facets of your creative consciousness that are available to you that, when properly utilized and consciously understood, can loan themselves to creating what you call the life of your dreams, a life that is more favorable to you than one that may be less favorable. And any existing conditions in your life are products of your creative functioning, as the conditions of others are theirs. You are all participating in the same functionally creative process, but utilizing different mechanisms of thought, belief, and idea. Therefore, your individual experience appear to be different from each other, because the mechanics of how you utilize thought and imagination, your reasoning process, your emotional energy, the function of your biology and the way you carry it around, assert a creative influence that becomes your experience, while in an individualized form, which is very temporary, we might add. If you were to compare the lifetime of a single human being let us say a single human embodiment, one of your human embodiments is a very small grain of sand compared to the immortal nature of your true soul. But while you're in this individualized expression, it can seem all too real for you sometimes even unalterable and immutable. But we can assure you that whatever you think, whatever you feel, whatever you believe, whatever you say, whatever you do, are creative functions that produce experiential realities. We know that many of you had negative thoughts come to your mind. Oh, this could happen to me and that could happen to them. And then you see it happen. You go, oh, I knew it. You think you are so smart. But no, you are creative. There's a difference between being creative and being smart. Being smart is knowing you are creative. every one of you is creating without necessarily knowing you are doing so. There are no chance events, no coincidences, nothing is outside the scope of your acts of creation. Whether you perform these acts consciously or unconsciously, the function of creation is your nature. Your nature is that you are a creating intelligence, that you came into a dimension of time and space and matter for the purpose of exercising the faculties of creation, thought, emotion, memory, expectation, word, action, all influential upon restructuring time, space, and matter on your behalf. But many of you, we know, do not understand that you can employ thought very specifically. And thought, when combined with what you call the energy of emotion, can produce remarkable results, alter and structure time very differently than you're familiar with. Which is why sometimes you can experience time going so quickly, because you're in a state that orchestrates time very differently. You're in an emotional energy that brings time quicker to you. You get to experience more time in less space. And then there's those of you that go into these other energies where it's a low vibrational state and time seems to drag on. Many do not even understand you're actually moderating and regulating time by the structure and nature of your emotions and the thoughts that produce them. So your future is very precise and specific consideration. And you can think about things in the past that were not so pleasant, and you will create a future based on that thinking. You can dwell upon your pain and your suffering and create more pain and suffering. And you can consider the wonderful things that have happened before and dwell on them and create more and more wonderful things. You can imagine something completely new with your consciousness. New thoughts, new ideas, new beliefs. You can imagine them very wonderfully and experience that. When you begin to view your life from the perspective that everything is an act of creation, whether that act of creation is deliberate and conscious, or that act of creation is unconscious, each functions the same way. Both your conscious and unconscious mind are creative influences over your experience of time and space and matter. And no matter what condition you are in right now, that truth is eternal. When you come into an individualized form, you have all the faculties of creation that each and every other person does. Albeit one may be more developed in their use of those faculties than another, but the truth is that each and every one of you are using the mechanics of creation all of the time. Our goal is to simply make you aware that you need to be aware of this, that what you think, what you believe, what you feel are creative influences. The way you move your body, the way you speak your words, these are creative influences over the mechanics of time and space and matter. You are masters of time and space and matter, but many of you know it not. We want you to know the truth, because the truth will set you free as a creator. When you know you are functionally able to articulate transformation and change in the experience of your physical reality, well, you are free. You are free in that moment. And is that not what you're seeking? You cannot find freedom from a politician or a lawyer. You cannot find freedom by overcoming your enemies with violence and aggression. You find true freedom in the realization of your functional capacity to initiate acts of creation over time, space, and matter. There are many of you that try to get away from this because you want to go to a place of peace and bliss within yourself, and that's a wonderful thing. But you came here to actively participate in creation. And for some of you, you may need to, maybe you've accomplished it all. Maybe you have mastered your creation. It's time for you to go up a level. Instead of just having an individualized life, maybe you'll take responsibility over a planet or a continent. Maybe you'll take possession and control over a galaxy or a solar system. Creative consciousness does not have restrictions or limits on it, other than that which is placed upon it by the individual awareness directing it. And your individual awareness is equal in potential to the divine. Your awareness is equal in potential to the divine, limited only by the function of your thoughts, your beliefs, your imaginings, your future considerations. But that future, whatever it is now. And what you would let in your mind from the world will also influence you. Be careful what you will accept. But please understand that your future truly, truly is now. In your thoughts, in your memories, in your emotions, in your words, in your actions. Your future is now. And we would add to that that there are only two elements of energy that you can work with in the precipitation of the creative process that you can be a part of and are a part of, whether you know it or not. And those two functions of energy are in an emotional spectrum, a spectrum of energy, which is what emotion is. And those two functions of emotion are the vibrational energy of fear and the vibrational energy of love. And the infinite shades and spectrums that make up both. There is no clear line of demarcation between love and fear. They have a place where they meet, like the ocean meets the sand. And love and fear go back and forth. In your own consciousness, you can choose to polarize yourself to one or the other. Many of you have. Much of your suffering on this planet is due to your polarization to fear as opposed to love. All of your prosperity and possibility and the wonders that you produce and manifest as human beings come from the spectrum of the expression of love. And you can only serve one master. You cannot serve two masters. You may be in any moment in the vibration of the moment of fear or the vibration in the moment of love. The choice, when you are aware enough, is completely yours. And some of you are in elements of creation that can be very, very uncomfortable and seem very real and almost unalterable to you. But we can assure you that each and every one of you has the capacity to alter and change your experience of creation as an act of your own free will. That there are simple and easy, practical things that you can learn to teach your mind, to teach your emotions, to teach your body to function differently than the world has conditioned them to do so. And in so taking that authority over your mind, your emotions, and your body, you can begin the journey of creating here and now. For when you have the ability to select and choose thoughts out of the many spectrums of thoughts in your mind, that you could exclude thoughts and say, I will choose this thought because it creates this emotion, and this emotion creates this energy in my body, and this energy in my body makes me want to dance and sing and play and run. You're in a very unique position in which you may free yourself right now, or live in the belief that you are just the body, that you are just confused, or you are uncertain. When you use the body as the mechanism for identifying who you are, you are in an error. The body is simply an instrument through which you express your consciousness. It is what it is. You got the keys when you were physically born into this world. You were given the keys to your vehicle and say, here, drive off into your life. You may create what you will with it. But take good care of your vehicle. Take good care of your vehicle. It is very difficult if it gets broken or damaged. It can be very difficult to go through life if it is not treated properly. None of you would put sugar in your gas tank or water therein, because you know that if you put the wrong things into the body, you will harm it. If you treat it incorrectly, you will damage it. It's very difficult to go through life with a vehicle that is damaged. Keep that in mind. The body you were given is a sacred instrument that you requested. You requested the body that you have right now. You requested it. And you came in brand new. Your wonderful new vehicle. And it is yours. And there are effects and causes that influence the way it will function for you. Beliefs and ideas that whether they are your beliefs or not, because many of you will be given beliefs by this world that you must learn to question. To question and know. But your future is now. Right now. What you think, what you feel, what you say, what you do, you are creating. Even if you dwell on the past, you are creating now from the past. And you will create a future past. If you hold in your mind a most noble and beautiful life for yourself about your future, then you will create the future from now. You will create a future from now. But many of you will create a future from your past. And you say, oh, things just never seem to change. They are so hard. Because you are simply recreating and recreating and recreating from what you already know, not stepping outside the boundaries of those considerations, beliefs, and ideas. But we can assure you, at any moment, you can pivot away from that. You could turn away from those things and consider new possibilities for yourself. One of the beautiful things about now is that it is always new, provided that what you bring to the now is new. You shall experience a renewed life. Your future is now. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Yes, thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for the hearts. We have been off shortcuts for the better part of 2 months. We just started up on Wednesday, so this is our second day back this week. And hi, everybody. I'm just going to see what we got going on here. Somebody's saying, oh, wow, potential to have control over a planet. They mean that. You think the sun does not control and articulate what's happening on Earth? The sun is a consciousness exhibiting in the function of creation in the form that we see it. What they tell me. The Earth is a function of consciousness that is creative, and we see the results of it. You are a function of creation that is creative. The difference between the sun and the Earth is their level of functionality in regards to creation is significantly greater than yours, but no less great in its potential. Your potential is equal to their own. Your acts of creation are equally divine. You know, the sun sustains all life on this planet. It's a well-known, documented scientific fact that all life on this planet would cease to exist pretty quickly without the physical sun in the sky. So it's a creative intelligence that asserts a function of life upon this body of matter. And the Earth is a function of consciousness, is a function of life that demonstrates its function. And it is dependent upon the sun as well. The Earth, so vast and beautiful, still depends upon the sun. You might wonder then what the sun depends upon. But yes, it's a very wonderful consideration, isn't it? That learning to functionally understand the practical ways in which you can learn creation, and we teach this in our masterclass series, how you can learn to become functionally creative over your own life. The sun didn't get there overnight. The sun went through many different incarnations to gain the knowledge and experience required to take care of a solar system. Just as the Earth went through, that consciousness that we call Earth, went through many incarnations of experience to get to that degree of creative expression. Just as the body that you're in is a reflection of the lifetimes or the few lifetimes that you've gone through to get to the level of experience and creation you are. You look at somebody like Elon Musk. He went through many, many lifetimes of experience. Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu, Eden. He went through many different civilizations to get to this level of creative expression. So if you look at someone like Elon Musk and you look at someone like, no, okay, I won't say it. I'm not going to say it, right? And you look at somebody who's living on the street. They have the same creative potential, but the amount of experience that each has over time is significantly greater. That person that's not managing one lifetime has got a long way to go before they get to the level of expression kind of Elon Musk. Understand that. So your life right now where it is a sum total composite of all the lives you've lived before. And when you learn how to gain access to information from other lifetimes, you learn to gain access to the interdimensional realms where you can talk to your guides, your angels, Jesus, Buddha, many other ascended beings that have evolved themselves up in consciousness. And we'll teach you how to do that. How do you connect to Jesus? How do you connect to Buddha? How do you connect to God? How do you connect to your grandmother or grandfather? How do you connect to your brothers and sisters that are not in physical form? There are ways of learning to do that. So you go through lifetime after lifetime learning things and evolving. So whether it's you call it the sun or the earth or Elon Musk or a person sleeping on the street, they're different embodiments of experience manifested as form, expressing itself creatively. The influence of that person on the street is very minimal in terms of how it impacts life. The influence of Elon Musk on the world in terms of how it impacts life is significantly bigger. The impact of the earth upon us is significant. The impact of the sun upon us is more significant. And so there's this infinite reincarnational process that allows an infinite spectrum of evolution and experience and expression. The consciousness of the solar system, believe it or not, there's a solar system that is conscious and aware. That the sun is at the center of it, just like the heart is at the center of your body. So there are different degrees of understanding now and how it affects your life. But that's a really beautiful consideration. Thank you so much for sharing that. Somebody had a super chat here. Let me get to it. There we go. Hello, Rainbow Patier Gamer. How you doing? Does Spirit have advice about moving house and where? So my guardian angel John said, tell her to get a map and throw a dart on it. But I'm not going to. Yes, I know you got to. My guardian angel John's got a sense of humor. Anyway, if I tune into your energy, this needs to be a decision that you make not from the energy of fear, which is why you're asking us, because you've got these emotions of uncertainty. And you know full well that these emotions of certainty, if you make a choice from those energies, will result in a certain creative output. And so what we would say to you quite simply is this: get excited. Get excited about moving. Truly get excited about it. And then you'll start to see the places that match your excitement. Get excited. Yes, you may move at any time, but move consciously, intelligently, creatively. Emotion is orchestrating your experiences. This is not a secular consideration for the person who has asked us this question, but a general truth about the human individual, that your function of emotion is creative by nature. Most of you do not understand the function of your emotion. You yell, you scream, you protest, you do things that are not very beneficial for you as a result. And if you do not understand the functions that the emotional energy of anger, greed, fear, guilt, shame, how they create the experience that you are having. So yes, you will have a wonderful time moving, provided you get excited about it. Your hesitancy only comes from your uncertainty. Release your uncertainty and get excited about moving, and make certain that everybody involved is likewise excited. The dominant emotional quality will be the primary influencer of what will come to pass. That is, if the emotion of excitement is greater than the emotion of uncertainty, then you will most certainly have a much better time than you would if the emotional energy of uncertainty were more dominant than the emotional energy of excitement. We hope that you understand this, that you understand this and learn this. Thank you. Great question. So these are functions, again, learning that you are a creator, that you are not just a body, that you're not just a mind, that you're not just your emotions, that you are a creating intelligence inhabiting a physical finite form over a very short period of infinite time. A very short period of infinite time, meaning infinite time encompasses all space-time. And you're in a body that just takes up there's no way to quantify it. It's like your lifetime right now is like a grain of sand on a 20-mile long beach, right? Compared to eternity. And you are, as a soul, are eternal. Jesus said you were. Buddha established that there's everlasting life. Many of the more evolved beings recognize the law of incarnation. Right? Hi. Well, hello, Phoenix Ferrario 416. What an amazing surprise to have all of you here too. Hi. Hello, Judy. Yes, there'll be a message for you shortly. Hi, guys. Good to see you. Remember to like, subscribe, share, tap the screen if you're on TikTok. Of course, TikTok, you know, I will be with you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To our students in Masterclass 104 Transcendence, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As we draw to the second last day of the course, I'm so excited that so many of you decided to sign up for Masterclass 101. As many of you observed and experienced that by going through each program, it compounds the learning effect of your experienced information and interacting with the energy of the Ascended Masters from my channel. It's a remarkable thing when you realize that your body and your mind and your emotions are not you. They are instruments that you have in learning the function and act of creation. You're born in the image and likeness of a divine creator. It stands to reason that you should be able to create. And for those of you that are watching right now, go check out my website, WilliamMichaelForbes.com. Check out Masterclass 101 Awakening, where we will introduce you to how to connect to your guides, your angels, ascended masters, loved ones. You can learn to gain and receive information from the Akashic record, from the quantum field, if you prefer that term, the Akashic record, the quantum field. You can learn these. They're functional, practical ways. And these courses that we teach were channeled to us from the Ascended Masters. The Ascended, the Divine Collective, Jesus, Buddha, many others, Saint Germain, many others that have evolved themselves to higher levels of expression, but still wish to offer their wisdom, their knowledge, and their truth to humanity, to give us all a chance to follow in their footsteps. And so Masterclass 101 is a course that goes 3 weeks long. And for this 1 month, we have reduced the price from $350 US to $99 US for this full 3-week course, where you'll be working with 3 other mediums. One of them is a nutritional expert who will introduce you to the concept of high vibrational eating, because there are things that you have to give to the body to elevate its energy, to make it more functional for you. If you're eating foods that are low vibrational all the time, you're going to lower the frequency and the functional capacity of your body over time. So she'll introduce you to Rita Mustafa is her name. She will introduce you to things that you can eat, things that you can drink, that will raise the vibrational state of your body up really easily and effectively. Really easily and effectively. And then we have our other 2 mediums, Desiree and Mary, who will guide you in the different practices that we have for how you get your mind and how you get your body prepared for channeling, connecting to intuition if you want to. If it's easier for you to understand that way, then You can understand that with connecting to Krishna, but you can connect to your guides, you can connect to your angels, you can connect to Jesus. Lots of people are connecting to Jesus on the planet. It's a big movement called Christianity, right? And lots of people want to connect to Buddha. It's called Buddhism. A lot of people want to connect to the wisdom and knowledge of Moses, and it's called Judaism. Right? So mediumship is a natural function of your soul's ability to bridge between the physical and non-physical dimensions so that you can acquire information not available to you here, so that you can function creatively, not just from what you've learned here, but from other realms of information. You know, most human innovation does not come from what we know. It comes from what we don't know. Anyway, sign up for the class and come and join us and make your life a creative experience rather than a random event. Right? Make it a choice, not something that just happens to you. Hi. Thank you for sharing the live. Please keep doing that. Hi. So you were saying that we could, so you are saying we could reach that much potential too? Absolutely. You're on the way there anyway. You're made in the image and likeness of a divine, all-knowing, all-powerful consciousness. Doesn't matter what you call it the quantum field, call it infinite spirit, the great spirit. You can call it the oneness. You can call it God. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You call it Sam for all I care. But you are made in the image of an infinite intelligence. Its primary function is creation. And you're made in its image and likeness. Your primary function, while in a physical body even, is creation. Most people don't know they are here to learn creation. Most people think they're just here to make money or get a job or just survive. You're here to learn the functional application of deliberate creation. And there are instruments you've been given. You came into this world with the necessary faculties to do that. A body, a mind, thought, emotions, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. One is the faculties of your physical dimension. The other are the faculties of your spiritual consciousness. Clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance let you perceive and comprehend and apprehend the invisible realm of information. Your 5 physical senses, your mind, your body, your emotions, your memories, allow you to comprehend and apprehend information in the physical dimension. Most people are stuck in the physical dimension and disconnected from the invisible dimensions. And we'll introduce you into ways to how you can begin to open up clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. And what do they mean? Clairvoyance means to see clearly. Clairaudience means to hear clearly. Clairsentience means to feel clearly. And claircognizance means to know clearly. Right? Because there are things that you know from the world, but things that you don't know from the invisible world. Again, most people are attached to only the physical perceptual apparatus. And much of what happens in your life keeps you trapped in the body and disconnected from your soul, from these other realms of information. And you need to reclaim that. You need to reclaim that. But yeah, we are all on the way becoming suns and stars and galaxies. I'm trying to see the connection of elan and creativity. We're saying that people don't suddenly come out of nowhere to produce great manifestations, great philosophies, great creative expressions. They don't just come out randomly. It takes many lifetimes. People ask, how the hell can elan do all of that? How can one man do all that? Because he perfected all of those skills from previous lifetimes and brought those skills forward and unpackaged them in a very short time because he developed them. He developed them. He developed them and brought them into this lifetime from other experiential lifetimes. You've heard of people like Michelangelo, Aristotle, yeah, Nikola Tesla, Hermes Trismegistus. You've heard of many beings that have acquired great understanding, knowledge, power, and wealth over a lifetime. It carries forward. You don't lose. You know, you look at the rings of a tree when you cut a tree in half. The tree doesn't lose what it was. It has it within it. So your lifetimes are much like a tree. Every time you go through a lifetime, you expand the ring, you expand the ring, you expand the ring. Elon just happens to have numerous lifetimes that allowed him to unfold that function very quickly. People that can speak multiple languages really easily didn't acquire that skill in a single lifetime. They brought that forward from having other lifetimes in those functions. But most people are cut off from those lifetimes, most people, because they're so identified with the body and mind personality they have now as the sole locus of their identity. Most people believe they're just the body and mind they have. This is me. This is your body. And these are your thoughts you've acquired from this lifetime. But there's realms of information that you can gain access to when you learn to shift your perceptual apparatus from the physical dimensions, from the known, into the non-physical dimensions or the unknown. And that requires certain practices to achieve that, right? Many lifetimes. So when you see people of great success, it came from hard work, absolutely consistence, persistence, a clear mind, but it was also backed by acquired experience from other lifetimes. They brought it forward with them, with their soul. Again, if you're so deeply identified with your body and your emotions and your thoughts as a personality, then you literally are not looking for that information. You're identified as this, so you don't recognize those things. We'll show you how to do that, how to break that composite apart so you can begin to let information come in. Good morning, Amanda. Hi. Hello. Someone says, the angels are helping me. Can you tell what they're currently helping me with? Please, may I be even, and maybe even a name? Yes. Archangel Raphael has been working on instructing you on the art of healing. The art of healing. Healing is a function of energy, and energy is emotion. You inherit from your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. In Christian mythology, they say the sins of the mother and father are visited upon the children for 3 and 4 generations, which basically means you inherit predispositions, thoughts, memories, and emotions genetically. You don't just inherit physical characteristics from your mother and father, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. You also inherit emotional tendencies. You also inherit thought tendencies. You also inherit, so you don't just inherit genetic tendencies, biological expression. You also inherit thoughts, memories, and emotions genetically. We all do. And you can learn to alter and change them. Most people don't get to the point where they can transcend or overcome what they've inherited genetically because they're not aware that they have. The idea that your grandfather was an alcoholic and your father's an alcoholic and now you're an alcoholic, that's an inherited predisposition that you do not have to remain subjective to. You are a divine soul. You can transform and transcend any inherited tendency when you have the right knowledge and understanding that you can do so. You can alter and change emotional expression, even with a smile. You can alter and change the function of emotional expression. Therefore, you can change what you've inherited through heredity. That's, again, something the masters go into very deeply in the program. So remember, your emotional energy, Holly, that is where your area of mastery is. Your body is not you. It is the instrument through which you are expressing your consciousness as a physical entity. Your body is not you. Your thoughts are not you. Your emotions are not you, but you have them. They're instruments of creation. You've been given most of your thoughts. You've been given most of your emotions, and you think they're yours. You weren't born with the emotions and thoughts you have right now. You acquired them. And for most people, the thoughts and emotions and memories you've acquired, you don't believe you can change them. It's just the way they are. Because you don't believe you can change them, things don't change. I cannot tell you, I've literally run into people who used to be considered some of my best friends from many years ago. I've walked up to them on the street and they don't recognize me. One fellow guy by the name, used to go by the name of Junior. I walked right up to him. I said, "Hey, Junior, geez, I haven't seen you in like 20 years. How are you doing? Who are you?" He's living in a box of identity that doesn't allow him to see what's in front of him. And most people live in a past present, so they never consider a future possibility. Anyway, I know I won't. So let's see. We've got another super chat here. Thank you for that super chat. Hi, Amanda. Good morning, William. My hands were heavy, like a rock this morning during meditation. May I have a message? Go out and ground, Amanda. We had a woman, I was just informed of this. So when you feel your hands getting heavy or your body feeling dense, go outside. Put your feet on your hands on the nearest tree right now, Amanda. Even if it's cold out there, I know it is. Put your hands on the nearest tree and just allow the earth to take the surplus electrons from the body. Because when you're doing healing work, which you are, you have to put it out. And if there's nobody you're working with right now, go out and give the energy, give the excess electrons. Because when you're doing healing work, you pull energy in from higher frequencies that orchestrate and change and alter matter. And so you want to go out to a tree right now. It'll only take a minute. Put your hand on the tree and allow the surplus electrons to be taken from the body into the earth, and you'll create a balance with your body electromagnetically, right? Or if you want to do some healing, if there's somebody you know that wants some healing or needs some healing, you can close your eyes and direct that energy, whether they're in your presence or not. You can transmit that functional healing energy towards them, and you'll feel it leave the hands. That's all that is. That's a built up surplus of energy that you have been developing as a healer, right? So go do that right now. Get out there or transmit that energy to somebody who needs it right now. Oh, you're very welcome, Lisa. Hello, Sherry. Have fun day at work. Wonderful. Hi. The reason why I asked regarding Elon is it was never his own creativity, but his father's connections. Understand everything that happens in your life is a function of a creative influence. You can say that it was his father's connections, but his soul precipitated those connections before it came in. The soul had already evolved. If you view creation from the process that it happens outside of you, independent of you, then you're going to feel like something can be done to you, that people have power and control and authority over you, right? No, this Elon precipitated the exact conditions that matched his soul's development, as has everyone. Every one of us, even you. You came into a world that matched the developmental nature of your soul. What level of development you reach is represented by what you come into. Whether you learn to assert a creative influence over your conditions to change them is another story. But his father, his mother, all those connections that you're talking about are manifestations, they're creative effects of his soul's creative process. And they were a part of his, and he was a part of theirs, and so on. Right? So people that are born into poverty, there are many people that have been born in poverty that have risen up out of it. Why? Why did they do it? Because they got a hold of a creative mechanism in their own consciousness that allowed them to transcend it, but they also had the part of them inside that experienced wealth previously. So they knew there was a new way of creation. But irrespective, if you're, let's say this is your first lifetime and you're born into poverty and you believe, oh, this is all there is to it, because that's all you know. It's your first lifetime. This is the way it is. Can't change anything. Oh, maybe I'll have to reincarnate 1,000 times before it happens. No, you don't have to wait 1,000 incarnations. Once you understand the creative faculties that you have at your disposal, thought, emotion, visualization, imagination, intuition, cognition, and you learn to apply them effectively, you can shift your experience from one state to another very quickly, just like you can change an emotional state from one state to another in a very short time. Right? This has been well documented by people like Tony Robbins, who does the activity of getting people to just move their bodies differently, to shift their energetic apparatus. That's all he's doing, is getting them to shift their energetic apparatus. And when you learn to become willful and conscious of that process, you can shift emotion, you can shift thought as an act of your own free will. Then you can choose to create whatever you want in this dimension. And there are many people that have demonstrated that. Danielle, thank you for the super chat, Daniela. An electrifying energy with outward burst was moving up from my toes to the shoulders the other night in bed. What was that? Again, you're beginning to bridge your energy from the physical dimensions to the upper spiritual dimensions. You're now beginning to form a connection between heaven and earth. I'll use that term heaven. Again, heaven is a vibrational state of consciousness. So what you're doing, Danielle, is you're now unconsciously bringing these energies together. As above, so below. You're beginning to merge. You're beginning to break down the separateness between your soul and your creative potential in this physical dimension. Great consideration. Thank you for sharing that. It's freezing here, but touching the tree made my heart so warm and light. Thank you. Wonderful. As you know from Wim Hof, he's demonstrated that cold cannot harm you if you know how to moderate the functional creative mechanisms of your mind and your body, which you can. You can sit in a bath of freezing water for hours and hours and not be affected. Or the Eastern mystics who walk across a bed of coals and not burn, because they've learned to operate and moderate the creative functions they have available to them. I'm very happy you experienced that, Amanda. So you felt the discharge of those too many electrons in the body releasing, and the body can now function more better, because it's like if you ever put air into a balloon, it gets too tight, it can't contain it, eventually it'll burst. So the same thing for healers. You can accumulate a lot of energy, and if you don't discharge it or keep the energy in the body balanced, you can create disease in the body just by having a surplus of energy. You got nowhere to go. So grounding becomes very important. This was talked about by the Divine Collective the other day on Shortcuts to Your Soul. You need to learn how to ground, and we'll teach you how to do that in the masterclass too, how to ground your energy. So that doesn't happen. Hi, Judy. Yeah, we'll get to you in a second, darling. Hi, Michael. Should I keep doing my cleaning business? Yes, but with more joy and a different future vision. I'm being told you need to learn how to scale your business up and delegate it to others. I don't know how you would do that. I'm just being given that information to give to you. You need to get really excited about the future and scale your business up so you can delegate it to others. Wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, you're very welcome for that. Did my guides recently stitch part of my gut? Thank you. The answer is yes, but not in the way that you would think in your mind. It was an energetic correction. I want to learn remote viewing. Well, Ben, sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening and start that journey. It took Jesus 29 years in that embodiment. It took him 29 years to get into oneness with God, to know how to read people's minds, to see the future. These are skills that are developed. They're not random. You are made, and he stated it yourselves. Many other mystics have done the same thing. You are made in the image and likeness of the one great God. You're just in a finite expression going through that learning process. But remote viewing is, again, a skill that, you can close your eyes and well, come join the course and have fun, Ben. Bring some more male energy to class. We find that the courses seem to appeal predominantly more to women because it deals with functions of behavior that are different, right? But the men that we do get in the course get to very, very wonderful spaces in their own creative consciousness. Helping other people is beautiful. Hi. Is there such a thing as hereditary memory? Yes, that's what reincarnation is. Reincarnation is energy you bring. You inherit memory, thoughts, and emotions for up to 3 and 4 generations in many native teachings from all the different tribal groups around the world. That information was consciously and deliberately handed down. Many native communities, Aboriginal communities, that was a conscious and willful act to impart the knowledge and wisdom. And the fact that most native and Aboriginal communities reached a level that they didn't need to go beyond. They had all they needed to eat. They had all they needed to be comfortable. They didn't need much more. In our modern societal world, the function of creation is way beyond the scope of bows and arrows, right? It's in the scope of moving our experience, physical reality into space and time beyond the confines of this earth. And it's a metaphor. That metaphor is to reach the divine in ourselves, to actualize it. When you know the kingdom of God is within you, if you understand that axiom and come to that experience in the way that you can, you'll understand then what we are all reaching for, that we're all heading towards that realization. It's the ultimate bliss to know yourself as the divine. Hi. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that comment. Thank you so much. Thank you. Judy is asking for a message. Community, Judy, I'm being told to tell you, building a functional community. Unite with like-minded souls. Build out the knowledge and the truth and the wisdom that you have about healing, emotional transformation, and spiritual awakening. Very important. So many of you are on the journey, but alone. You need to combine your energy. You look at what Donald J. Trump is doing. He's brought some of the finest, most well-reasoned people in the world together. If you're wondering why he's got such powerful influence over the world, it's because he has a vision in his heart put there by God. And he realizes that, maybe not in the sense that I'm expressing it here. And all the people that have gathered around him are like-minded in that spirit. They all believe in the sacredness of God. And they're enacting their vision of what is right. So you need to unite with people of a like-minded vision that is based in the function of love and goodness. And I want to emphasize that. You want to make certain that whom you align to, that their function is of love and goodness. And you'll know it because there's lots of people out there saying they talk about love, but they're screaming and yelling at people for disagreeing with them. You can see it all the time on YouTube, TikTok, the news, where people are screaming at other people. You should care about other people. What are you doing right now? You're not caring about me. So there's a lot of hypocrisy out there, and that's got to go. So yeah, unite with people of a like mind. It'll really help you. Hello, California. Good to see you. What is my take on Darius J. Wright and what he teaches? I don't know him or of him. This is the first time I'm hearing that energy. But if I tune into his energy, I get that the function of his outcome is ultimately that you find your true nature and realize it. That's his primary outcome. That's again what I'm tuning into. I would actually have to look up that name and find out what he's actually doing. But you can usually know it pretty quick. But energetically, I feel that the goal of any teacher is to remind the student of what they already have. Because every single human soul has thought, memory, emotion, a body. Every human soul has a mind, a body, emotions, thought. Every human soul has intuition, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance. Every soul has these faculties. And every soul, once you realize how to use those faculties, then you can learn the practice of creation without getting into codependence upon an individual or a group. Right? But the function of love should be the primary drive of all human endeavors. The function of love should be the primary drive behind all human endeavors. And right now, as a species, we're more connected to the vibrational energy of fear. Hello. Hi. You're welcome. We're just scrolling. If bowel is stitched, will gut infections stop? Or I need to do anything else to heal gut further? Yes. Listen, come to Masterclass 101 Awakening. It's only $99 this one time. You need to understand that the interplay between your conscious, subconscious mind and your awareness are crucial in how your body is functioning. The thoughts, the beliefs, the ideas you've acquired from this world generate functional emotions that can influence and alter your biology and physiology, your biology and psychology, pardon me. And you need to understand that this event going on with your gut is not a random chance event. There are things that have happened in your past that you could not stomach. And your stomach is the place in your biology where you stored the emotions that represent that experience or that series of experiences that are like each other. And until you remove the functional emotion that's trapped in the body, it can often recreate itself. That's why a lot of people can go for a treatment for a disease and the medical doctors give you this pill and this drug and suddenly it gets healed. And then a year or two later, it comes back because the disease is often connected more to an emotion than it is to the physical dimension. And emotion organizes matter. Every emotion you hold on to organizes the matter of your experience. That's what happens. All right. So sign up for the class and you will have an experience there that will give you absolute proof that your body is designed to react and respond to your dominant emotional energy and the structure of thought that supports them. Wow, wonderful. Well, it's been a wonderful morning with everybody. I'm so grateful that we had this chance to share it. I want to say thank you to the Ascended, to Master Jesus, and others that have been present with us today. And I want to say thank you to all of you for coming out and supporting this channel. Remember to tap, if you come on TikTok, remember to tap the screen and give that algorithm a little push to get more people to receive this information, which humanity desperately needs right now. Am I making progress to connect to my higher self? Yes, you are. Everyone is making progress to connect to their higher self, albeit your progress may be slower or accelerated according to the nature and the quality of the mechanisms, processes, thoughts, behaviors, words, and emotions that you harbor. But if you want to really accelerate your process to a higher expression of yourself, sign up for Masterclass 101 Awakening. Go to my website, williammmichaelforbes.com, and you can do that. Just check out the services section and click on courses, and you'll see Masterclass 101, which begins in about 9 or 10 days. Don't waste any time. It will completely change your life. On that note, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful and a most joyful day. And take care, everybody.